Hi, I'm Eric J. Hall, founding president and CEO of the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. The Alzheimer's Foundation of America is a national not-for-profit organization that's all about care. We offer a wide range of programs and services to assist individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, and especially their caregivers. Among them, we have a toll-free hotline that can connect you to licensed social workers. We have a free magazine for caregivers, a memory screening initiative, and even a division for teens who need education and peer support. Additionally, 1,600 member organizations across the country stand ready to offer local resources in your own community. We proudly include Senior Helpers as a strategic partner. With their Senior GEMS program, Senior Helpers is taking great strides toward providing positive, meaningful interactions between family caregivers and their loved ones. Together, we all stand ready to provide the hands-on support you need and to improve quality of life. For me, it's really important that you're watching this video because it shows that you understand that it's okay to ask for and to receive help. I don't have to tell you how hard caregiving can be at times, how unprepared you might feel. But after speaking with countless family caregivers over the years, it's clear to me that education, practical strategies, and professional resources are critical. This assistance can help you provide the best possible care for your loved one as Alzheimer's disease progresses and as needs change. And it can provide the best care for you as well, helping you to avoid burnout. So I encourage you to soak up as much as you can from this video. Put the information to use in your daily life. Reach out for additional local and national resources at any time. Trust me, help makes all the difference.
Senior Helpers is proud to present the Senior GEMS, your guide to supporting family members with dementia, featuring Teepa Snow.
Hi, I'm Teepa Snow. I'm a dementia care specialist. My background, I'm an occupational therapist with over 30 years of practice experience working with older adults in almost every possible setting. What I've done recently is partner with Senior Helpers, and what we're doing in this DVD is working with you, the family member, when you suspect or you know that the person you care for and love is experiencing some form or type of dementia. The goal of this DVD is to provide you with knowledge and skills so you can do a better job of helping the person you care for, but also helping yourself. It's a long journey, and both of you are on it. What we want to do is make sure both of you have a good experience.
Although there are some changes associated with aging, disease is not a natural part of aging. If you are noticing changes in memory, mood, and activity level of your loved one, it's critical that you share these concerns with a physician.
So what kind of medical support should you seek? In most cases, initially at least, you're going to want to see a specialist, someone who knows a fair amount about aging, dementia, so you make sure you get a good evaluation and workup. Everybody deserves that. You may want to actually seek out somebody who specializes in working with the elderly or working with different cognitive impairments, or you at least want to make sure that what you're getting is a full evaluation and not just a quick office visit with an assumption that what you're seeing is a dementia, because it might not be. And this is your chance to speak up and stand up for the person you're trying to help. It will pay off in the long run if you know what you're looking at and that you've had it looked at carefully. You don't want to make a mistake at this point and have it be a pseudo-dementia. For example, delirium, depression, thyroid problem, and you let it go, even a hearing problem. You want to make sure that what you're dealing with is the real deal, because if it is, it's going to change everything, and you want to know that.
Understanding the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia can be confusing. Learning the difference will help you be better prepared for speaking with physicians and understanding your loved one's disease.
So one of the big questions most family members have is, what's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? And here's the basic idea. Dementia is a great big group of diseases. It's not all one type. It's actually considered a syndrome, not a diagnosis. And under that big umbrella term, we have different types of dementia. And Alzheimer's is a particular type of dementia. It's one we've known about for a long time, and so we know a fair amount about it. Let me give you another example to maybe help you with this. If I were to say to you, I'm going to give you a piece of fruit, you have in your mind sort of the general category of what you're going to get. But it's not until I say, you get a banana, you get an orange, you get an apple, that you know exactly what's going to end up being in your hand. And so dementia is the great big category. Alzheimer's is one specific type, as is vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, frontal temporal dementias is a whole little group. And so those are types of apples up underneath there. It's complicated. As a family member, you want to start to understand this a little bit better because you're going to end up being an advocate. You're going to need to seek out and find the right kind of medical support for the person you're trying to help. And you want to make sure that you're getting best quality evaluation and treatment. You're going to be their advocate, their spokesperson. You need to know what you're working with so you can do a better job.
Many times we think of dementia as a memory problem, but it's much more than that. The brain is actually going through physical changes and all parts of the brain are affected. Knowing the ways the brain is affected will help you understand why your loved one's behavior has changed and the best ways you can provide care.
So as a family member, you need to understand how your brain works a little bit. What's where and what does it do and what doesn't it do when someone has dementia. So I'm going to give you the most common scenarios. And we're going to start on a brain tour. Let's start with the front. The front of your brain is the part of your brain that says, behave yourself. It's your executive control center. It's the part of you that lets you be the person you want to be and to see it from another person's point of view, to make good choices and decisions, to start, to stop, to multitask. With dementia, this is an area of the brain that frequently is hit and hit hard. They still want your respect, but they're not good at decision making. They're not good at seeing it from your point of view. They don't understand why they can't do, and they say whatever comes to mind because on the inside of your brain up there is the part of your brain, deep inside the brain, impulses. The impulse to do what you want, say what you want, the impulse to drink, to eat, to behave yourself in a bad way. We all have those impulses. What we do is we control them with the front of our brain. But when dementia happens, things slip through. It's not intentional, it's just the way it is. The second part of your brain I want to focus on, temporal lobes. Now the temporal lobes is where your language control centers are, but both sides are not the same. And Alzheimer's particularly, and many of the frontal temporal dementias attack the left side more than the right. And the left side, for a large portion of the population, 98% or better, is where you have formal language skills. Definitions of words, comprehension of speech, the ability to physically produce speech, and your ability to find the word you're looking for, to say what you think, what you remember, what you want. This side is the side that gets hit. Over here on the right, preserved. These are things that they tend to keep better. Number one, automatic social chit-chat. Number two, anything with rhythm and music, including singing, even late in the disease, but prayer and games that involve rhythm. And they understand the rhythm of a question when they don't understand the content. And finally, forbidden words, swear words, sex talk, racial slur, ugly words. Unfortunately, preserved. And when this isn't available and this isn't working, you hear things you would never have heard from this person. It shocks you. It's not them, it's the disease. Now let's go deep inside. And this is the one that everybody sort of knows about. Take your fingers, put them to your temples, and if you were to shove in 3/4 of an inch, you'd hit exactly where learning and memory takes place in your brain, the hippocampal area, one on either side. It's very vulnerable. And for many dementias, it's the first indication of a problem. But it's not all memory. At first, what you'll notice, they can't hold on to new stuff, new details. What they can learn is new emotional memory, whether they like you or not, but they don't remember why. And then you start to notice problems with recent stuff. But the old stuff is fine. And of course, they're talking about it a lot because that's what they're most comfortable with. New stuff gone. And then you start to notice they're time traveling. They're getting lost in their life. They're actually thinking they're in another place in time, and they have those momentary lapses, and then it becomes a pattern. And then they get lost in tasks. and then they get lost in a moment. And it's not on purpose, it's this part of the brain dying. Now let's look at another part. Back in the back. Let's skip to that because this is a real critical part, and for most dementias, it's affected early on as well. It's where vision is stored. And you don't lose your ability to see, but there are some very common changes. One of the first things is you have trouble with peripheral awareness. Your brain can't handle all the incoming data, and so it makes a decision. We have central vision, which gives you the detail, the specifics, gets you to be able to do things, and peripheral, which makes you aware of incoming. So what your brain says, the middle's more important. Start to ignore the edges. And their awareness of the world around them gets smaller and smaller. But there are other things that take place as well. Our ability to hook up what we see with what we know and remember. So how do I know that a cup is a cup? How do I know what's in a cup? And how do I know that if I'm thirsty, what I should look for is a cup? That hooks my visual center to my language center, to my frontal lobe. And when these systems are failing, what we find is I look at a cup and I dump it on the floor even though I'm very thirsty and I don't realize what I've just done. As a caregiver, you get very frustrated if you don't understand what's happening is a change in the visual field. And what that means is I pick up a comb and try to brush my teeth. I might pick up a razor and try to comb my hair. You as a caregiver need to be aware these changes are happening, and I'm not doing this on purpose either. This is brain failure. Now, the final part of the brain I want to spend a little time on is a part that we rarely talk about with dementia, which is sensation, and then in the front of it, movement. You feel things happening all over your body, and it comes up through your spine and lands on the surface of your brain. So you know what's going on from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. You didn't realize that. You just thought it was happening. No, it has to be taken in and processed so you can do something about it. This strip, the one in front, is what controls all the muscles. You control every muscle in your body from your brain. So that connection between sensation and movement, you feel a sensation, you do a movement. As this disease progresses, that wiring, that connection between what you feel and what you do about it is destroyed. And so I can sit and develop a pressure sore. I can try to get up and not realize I need to have my feet down. I don't know, not because I'm not trying, but because my brain is dying. And finally, be aware with this increasing changes in the sensory strip, there are some parts of my body that I may actually be much more sensitive in, and other parts where I have hardly any awareness at all. This will be the 4 areas where you see a lot of sensory awareness: lips, tongue, and mouth, palms of the hands and the fingertips, soles of the feet, and genitalia. So how many care tasks take place in those areas? Huge numbers. And if as a caregiver you don't understand, I may not be aware of the scrape on my arm, but when you try to help me brush my teeth, what you're getting is a hypersensitive sensory response. The better you understand this, the more you can help effectively by visual, verbal, touch. Cues matter, and the sequence matters. We'll talk about that later.
There are several traditional scales used to describe the progression of Alzheimer's and dementia. Teepa Snow has taken the Allen Cognitive Disability Model, which focuses on what those with dementia are able to do, and replaced the numbered scale with GEMS. By using GEMS, Teepa not only reminds us of how precious our loved ones are, but also makes it easier to understand the progression of this disease.
We've talked a lot about what is dementia, but this is a disease that spans anywhere from 5 to 18 years or longer. There's a lot that can happen and a lot of changes that are going to take place. Brain failure doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. So what we want to do is create a system, a way of looking at it that looks at not only what are they losing, but what are they still able to do? What are their interests going to be? And most importantly, how can we help and what's the environmental support they're going to need for success? It means you're going to have ways to help that are specifically geared to what are they now able to do? And it's also going to provide you with opportunities to go, oh, well, this isn't working anymore. They've changed levels of function. And the way we go about this is to try to see people as precious and unique, as special, not as just losing stuff, because it's more than just losing, it's changing. But for everything they lose, there are things they keep. So what we're going to talk about are gems. Gems, because gems are precious and unique. They need the right setting, they need the right care to shine. And here we go. Let's start off. Sapphire, diamond, emerald, amber, ruby, and pearl. Now, sapphire, that's true blue, and that means your brain isn't changing. Now, it's aging, but it's not changing in an abnormal or weird way. What that means is the person is pretty much how they've been. They're true blue, but I will also tell you they're slower than they used to be. It takes longer for them to reach decisions. They're more likely to go, wait a minute, don't be pushing me. They have moments, as we all do. It takes longer to learn new habits. It takes longer to learn new information. They need more visual cues, more props. When you say, don't you remember? Well, yes, I remember. I might be a little feisty, but I do remember with the right calendar, with the right visual information. Make sure your verbal isn't overwhelming to me. Do a good job, that'll help. Now let's talk about the first signs that something's not normal. Diamond. Now think about it, a diamond, clear and sharp. They're still looking clear, but something's going on. They're very rigid. They can't be flexible. They can only do what they've always done before. They're very big on habits and routines, and they don't want anybody messing with their habit and routine. They can't stand it when something's out of whack. I will also tell you that they will talk a lot about older stuff and have a really difficult time hanging on to new specific information. However, they will be able to know whether they like you or not, and they can cut you. Diamonds are sharp and clear, but they also have lots of facets. It means everybody sees them differently. So you're spending a tremendous amount of time arguing among yourselves as to whether or not there is something going on or not. More than likely there is. Now, diamonds don't remember, and they don't like it when you point that out, or they'll say, well, I don't know what's going on here. We don't want to make them feel worse. What we want to do is use what they're good at, habits and routines. Try not to change as much as you cannot change something. Use what they're familiar with, and then what you want to do is give them the right support for what they're having trouble with. Be prepared for those old stories. Listen to them. It's a good idea to find out what those old stories are. Actually write them down, because you're going to need those later on. Learn the art of I'm sorry. It's one of the most important phrases you're going to have in your diamond support care. Also, I'm sorry you're right. Even if they aren't. Let it go. You're not going to win a battle. You want to practice skills that are going to use visual, verbal, and touch cueing and get rid of the words, don't you remember? Because the fact of the matter is, they don't. Now let's talk about emeralds. Emerald is when you see that green color, whoa, things are changing. No denying we've got dementia on board now. And the color of the gem, green. Green is for go in a stoplight sequence, and these people are on the go. They're going back in time, and they're getting very vague. They're having trouble with some things about that. You're finding the, to put all the, you know what I'm, word finding, problems with comprehension. They actually think they're in another place in time, at first only momentarily, but often this is where we see a huge amount in the late afternoon, early evening of looking for people who have died, talking to people who are not around, wanting to go to work, gotta get home. They are home, but they don't think so. They are also having trouble with their personal care routines. They're doing things, but they're making mistakes. They're skipping steps. You notice it, they don't. The truth about emeralds, the flaws inside, they don't know that. They're putting the same dirty clothes back on. They haven't had a shower. They think they've had a shower. They don't know where they are in the day. They're skipping meals. They're double eating. That's an emerald. What do we need to do? Structure the day, fill the time. We need to figure out how to give visual cues that sound friendly. Don't be a boss. Don't turn into their mother. They're not going to like it, and they're not going to do well with it. What we need to do is be friendly, use humor, use visual cues, tremendous amount of visual cues. If you want them to do something, do it alongside. Give them a prompt, give them a cue, but don't argue, don't fight, and don't remind. Go with their flow. If they're back in time, you've got to figure out how to be okay with that, not try to correct it. Really tough, really tough. Limit verbal interaction. Don't say too much, don't say too long, don't say too many different things, and watch your touch. Keep it friendly. Don't try to do for people. This is where doing with is critical. The next stage of the disease, we talk about ambers. And amber of all gems is the softest. It's the one that's not a mineral. It's not in the ground. It's actually rosin comes out of a tree and then something gets stuck on it, more rosin flows over and it hardens up a little. But of all the gems, it's the most changeable. It's in the moment. This is something caught in a moment of time. This person is actually in a moment only. And in this stage of the disease, it's all about what does it feel like? What does it look like? What can I do with it? It's all about sensation and exploration. Now, when you have an amber, whoa, it just can drive you over